Taylor Sheridan has been keeping something from us, and I am not talking about a small detail or a minor plot twist. I am talking about something so big, so unexpected that when I found out, I had to sit with it for a moment before I could even process it. Because this is not just about what is coming in season 2 of The Madison. This is about how Taylor Sheridan has been building something much larger than any of us realized, and the secret he has been hiding in plain sight this entire time is finally starting to come out. So stay with me, because what I am about to share with you is going to completely change the way you look at this series. Let me start from the beginning, because to truly understand the secret, we need to go back to what Taylor Sheridan did with season 1. Now, we all know how brilliant he is at portraying grief. We saw it in Yellowstone, we felt it in 1883, and we experienced it again in The Madison. But here's the thing, The Madison is not just another grief story. When I look at season 1 very carefully, I realize that Taylor Sheridan was not simply telling us the story of a family dealing with loss. He was doing something far more calculated and far more intentional. He was building the emotional foundation for something that is going to be much bigger and much more surprising in season 2. And that is exactly where his biggest secret begins. See, most people watched season 1 and focused entirely on Stacy, which makes complete sense because Stacy is the heart of the show. Watching her respond to Preston's death with anger, watching her sit in those therapy sessions with Phil, and then watching her finally make that incredibly brave decision to leave New York behind and return to Madison Valley without telling anyone, it was all so deeply moving. And Michelle Pfeiffer played every single moment of it so perfectly that it was almost impossible to look anywhere else. But while we were all focused on Stacy, Taylor Sheridan was quietly laying down something else in the background, something that most viewers completely missed, and that something is the real secret of season 2. Here's what I mean. Think about the way season 1 ended. Stacy does not just go back to Madison Valley. She leaves her phone behind, she walks away from everything that connected her to her old life, and she goes to sit beside Preston's grave in the wilderness. Now, on the surface, this looks like a woman finally finding peace. And yes, it absolutely is that. But if you look at it through Taylor Sheridan's eyes, what this moment is really telling us is that Stacy is not just grieving anymore, she is transforming. And Taylor Sheridan's biggest secret is that season 2 is not going to be a grief story at all. Michelle Pfeiffer herself has already hinted at this. She said that season 2 is going to have a significant amount of comical relief and raw emotional moments as the characters begin the messy process of building a new identity after losing everything they knew. And when I heard that, everything clicked for me. Because this is exactly what Taylor Sheridan does best. He lets you cry in season 1, and then he completely surprises you in season 2. And now let's talk about the details, because this is where it gets really exciting. The biggest secret that Taylor Sheridan has been hiding is actually connected to the production of this series. And when I tell you this, I think you will understand just how much thought and planning went into The Madison from the very beginning. So here's what happened. Season 2 of The Madison was already fully filmed before season 1 even finished airing. Yes, you read that correctly. While we were watching the very first episode of season 1, the entire second season was already sitting in a vault somewhere, completely finished and ready to go. And this was not an accident. This was a very deliberate and very strategic decision made by Michelle Pfeiffer and Taylor Sheridan together. They actually went to Paramount Plus and lobbied hard to get 2 full seasons greenlit and filmed back to back. And the reason they did this is directly connected to Kurt Russell. Now, this is the part that I find absolutely fascinating. Kurt Russell, who plays Preston Clyburn in flashback scenes, had a very limited availability because of his commitment to Monarch Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV+. And because Preston is such an essential part of the story, even in death, Taylor Sheridan and Michelle Pfeiffer knew they could not afford to lose Kurt Russell's involvement. So they came up with a plan. They filmed both seasons together during a concentrated window so that all of Kurt Russell's flashback scenes could be captured before he had to leave for his other project. And because of this decision, we are now in a situation where season 2 is fully complete and waiting for us. And industry predictions suggest it could arrive as early as late 2026 or even early 2027, which means the wait is actually much shorter than any of us expected. But here's where the real secret gets even deeper. Because the fact that season 2 is already done is not just good news for us as viewers, it also tells us something very important about how confident everyone involved in this series truly is. Think about it. The Madison pulled in 8 million global views in its very first 10 days. It cracked Nielsen's top 5 original series with nearly 1 billion minutes viewed in its very first full week. These are not just good numbers, these are extraordinary numbers. These are the kind of numbers that tell you a show is not just popular. It is a cultural moment. And Taylor Sheridan knew this was going to happen. He knew it so well that he had already planned and filmed 2 full seasons before the audience even had a chance to fall in love with the show. And if that is not the definition of confidence, I honestly do not know what is. And now let's talk about what is actually coming in season 2, because I am extremely excited about this. We already know that the entire Clyburn family is going to be permanently relocating to Montana, and I think this is going to create some of the most entertaining and emotionally rich storytelling we have seen from Taylor Sheridan in a very long time. Because think about who these women are. They are wealthy Manhattan socialites. They are used to a very specific kind of life. And now they are going to be dropped right into the middle of one of the most tight-knit and proudly traditional communities in the American West. The culture clash alone is going to be so much fun to watch. But Taylor Sheridan being Taylor Sheridan, it is not going to just be fun. It is going to be deep and meaningful, and it is going to make us think about things like class, identity, and what it really means to belong somewhere. I am also very sure that Abby and Van Davis are going to pick up right where they left off, and honestly, I cannot wait, because Abby calling Van and admitting that she still cannot resist him was one of the most quietly powerful moments of season 1. Beau Garrett and Ben Schnetzer have both hinted in interviews that something significant is going to happen between their characters in season 2, and I personally believe that Abby and Van are going to move very fast this time, because Abby already knows what it feels like to be free. She already knows what it feels like to step out of her parents' shadow and just live for herself, and I do not think she is going to let that go again. As for Paige and Russell, I think season 2 is going to be a turning point for them as well. Paige losing her job in New York, combined with everything she went through emotionally in season 1, tells me that she is done with that chapter of her life. And knowing that Russell has always wanted to start a family, I would not be at all surprised if season 2 brings us some very happy and very unexpected news for that couple. And now let's come to the most important thing I want you to take away from all of this. Taylor Sheridan's biggest secret was never just about a plot twist or a surprise storyline. His biggest secret was that from the very first episode of The Madison, he was already 3 steps ahead of all of us. He had already planned the grief, the transformation, the humor, the romance, and the future of this family before we even had a chance to get attached to them. And we got deeply attached. The Madison has already been renewed for season 3, which was announced just weeks after the series debut, and the actors themselves have confirmed that this story is going to last much longer than 2 seasons. So what Taylor Sheridan has given us is not just a show. He has given us a world, and we are only just beginning to explore it. So now it is your turn. Did you have any idea that season 2 was already completely filmed? And what are you most excited to see when it finally arrives? Let me know everything in the comments below. And if you are also curious about what Taylor Sheridan has planned for 1969, the brand new Yellowstone spinoff, make sure you check out that video next.